if I'm not sharing with others and people are not sharing with me,
Come on.
like what's going on here? No, yeah,
And I just feel like sisterhood is so important to us.
it
Like,
is.
I think it's one of like the greatest gifts
Yes,
that we were given on this earth.
yes.
And so I appreciate being able to like really, really enjoy and appreciate that with
Sup fam, we're the Cosmic Healing Sistas. I'm Kay Darling.
And I'm Erica Joy.
We're community healing justice practitioners offering up holistic peer support.
And now hot takes with the very first season of our podcast.
We'll be talking about healing, cosmically and otherwise.
The cosmos, literally and spiritually.
And sisterhood, because we're in this shit together.
Sometimes serious, oftentimes silly.
Always towards holistic liberation.
To hang out with us in more ways than one, check out the link in our description.
And let us know what you think.
I don't know how to change my name.
Noted. I guess you'll have to introduce yourself. I guess you'll just have to
so I'm
who you are.
It's me, Erica, sister. Do you know that?
Erica Joy.
Erica Joy.
Now,
exactly.
Joy is
a part of the vibe. Yeah, I don't know. I think after having friends, like, just it's always been a fun little thing to tell people of like, oh yeah, my middle name is Joy after they meet me, because they're like, it's perfect for you. No, because everyone's always like, that's exactly what your middle name should be, like your mom knew. And I'm like,
which is cute. Yeah. Do you know why that's your middle name? Did she ever tell you?
Yes, it's like in part due to the nurse that helped her when she was giving birth to me. Her name was Noel.
Oh.
And so no, I know.
Okay, well,
it's like an honor, not necessarily like,
okay.
Like,
what does that have to do? What does Noel have to do with Joy?
Well, because maybe she was thinking like Joyeux Noel, like the French, like Merry Christmas.
Okay. What was your French name growing up?
Oh my God, I had to change it. Okay, because when I was in middle school, it was Viviane.
Oh, I was like, I don't know. Viviane. It's
Viviane.
Like, you're a mom in like a 90s black sitcom.
No, exactly. And so it's like, why am I 8 years old with the French name of Viviane? Like, that is not okay. So in high school, when I was able to reinvent myself,
yeah.
I changed it to Estelle.
Okay, way more the vibe. That makes more sense.
Right?
Like E, that makes sense.
Yes.
Now, exactly. As you know, I also reinvented it.
Yeah, no, I want to know.
In high
what were your friends?
Well, I mean, mine was Michelle.
Okay.
You know, and she was a whole person. Like, Michelle was my alter ego. You know, she was
beautiful.
blonde.
Yeah. Okay. Michelle was white.
I had a difficult time conceiving myself like truly as black for a while, just like growing up in predominantly white spaces things. So I was like, my alter ego can be this like blonde, like grown woman, no less. So I was also imagining myself as a grown woman when I was a child, which is odd, I think, but I think it has to do with my Saturn and Aries, things like that.
Yeah. No. So, but now you're K.
I'm K, and that is how I redefine myself in high school.
Yeah.
I never went by K. We have a former name that is still very dear to my heart, and it's on a like if you know kind of basis. I honestly have like a feeling that if I tell people my full name prematurely and they use it, like it is that. And so maybe honestly I should start using it again. Because I feel like if they start using it, they will quickly exit my life if they are not supposed to be in my life. Like, it's kind of like that, like, forced intimacy sort of thing. And my guides are like, it's almost like they sense who this person is when they hear my full name, and they usher them out with haste. So,
yeah. So they do not deserve to say your full name.
No.
out of here.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so where did darling come from?
Darling. Hey, darling. So that's me, K, comma, darling, all lowercase. That is how I do names now. And darling is more like a qualifier, and it was initially used as a qualifier. So when I was living in Berlin, and I had a friend named Ricky at the time, and Ricky was a regular at these Tuesday evening like Soho House parties, like a salon situation. If you were that, like, it was a salon, so there was this like 70-plus-year-old German man who was like an art collector and like a political like commentator, something. I don't know what Uli did. Uli did stuff. Every Tuesday he like had a corner of like the rooftop Soho House cafe restaurant area, and he was like, everyone come on down, free drinks, free food. And you know, in Berlin, I was in my early 20s. I was like, free food, let's go, let's do it. And so he liked having like an eclectic group of people of various ages, backgrounds, experiences, eat on his dime, and like, yeah. And so when she told him, what?
No, I'm just thinking of like what are those movies, like the Glass Onion and like the Knives Out movies. It's like we have to bring these different minds together and create something.
And that's how that's how I felt there. You know, I was holding down the fort. I was the young hot American model. And I was intelligent. I was charismatic.
Yes.
I was a joy to have at the gym and tonic.
Oh, I'm sure.
So when she told him to put me on the list, he was like, what's her name? And she was like, Hey, darling. And so I hear this. I did not know this happened. This happened, I was in another scene, you know? But when I arrive and they're like, what's your name? I'm like, Kay. They're like, Kay, darling. And I was like,
yes. No, that's me. You're right.
Who I am.
Oh,
I love it.
Thank you.
And so now I took it on.
Yeah.
I took it on and I love it. And it's been years now. And I fucking love it. And no one ever asks. No one ever asks.
No.
It's like
because
it's
why?
Name. You know, I've met people with the last name darling.
I mean, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I mean, so like, how are you feeling coming into this? Like, this is our first little introduction.
More
on. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like we have things to say. and
we're gonna say them.
And we're gonna say them, and people are gonna listen. So that's what I always am just thinking.
That's what you always say.
I'm always saying that. I'm always thinking that. How are you doing? Yeah.
Well, you know, it's the new moon in Aquarius.
This is true. Oh, yeah.
I feel like okay. Like,
yes.
Not like okay, like I feel okay. I feel like okay, comma. Like, let's do this.
Hey, comma.
You darling. Yeah, like I just feel like, you know, that new moon phase, like that very beginning of it when it's like still dark and everything's still very seed like. I mean, just like us recording this right now, like it's not exposed. You know, the seed has not blossomed. This is a very like new moon thing to do where we're like doing the thing, but it has not yet like manifested fully in its full form of like existence, exposure out there. And so that's kind of how I'm feeling just in general. I'm feeling like, okay, shit's gestating. And, you know, my favorite moon phase is that crescent moon, is that waxing crescent moon. Because that's when things really like, I can start seeing what's going on. I'm getting a tarot reading tonight from my friend Gray. Conjuring healing, which I also love, is like a parallel to cosmic healing. Like, I love these, like, network that we didn't choose or decide, but it's just blossoming.
Yes.
And I feel like that's really going to help me to like tune in to what this next moon cycle is going to be. Yeah, and so that's where I'm feeling. I'm feeling like, okay, all right,
let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm feeling.
Yeah. I'm feeling more of the like, oh, new moon, I'm going to be insular. I'm going to be inside.
Yeah.
I am the seed. And I need to be covered by dirt.
You got your greens, like,
exactly. I need to be covered. I need to be watered, and I need to rest.
And like, we're in very different climates. We're in very different circumstances. And so I feel kind of like, I see people mentioning like the winter, like this is like the winter.
I know. It is so global north. Like,
right?
I know. No, and that's why, with my newsletters for our like cosmic healing newsletters.
Yeah.
I stopped saying the season.
Exactly.
Because it was like, we don't know where people are. Like,
we're not.
So why try to like just say the equinox like not February.
Never does that
March.
happen.
But the month with whatever this is happening. So
the pivot point.
Yeah. And that was very and I being that we I was just with you in
the southern
Brazil,
hemisphere.
In the southern hemisphere. For the summer, and then coming directly into winter, it was a really big shift, but not so much like temperature wise, because I like the cold. I don't mind being in the cold, especially when it's like a mild cold. I'm talking like 50s, 60s.
Unlike me.
Yeah. Okay.
Putting that out.
But, just real quick though. It was more like the day change of like having such long days and then going to such short days. And it was like, at first it's like, aw, but also it really helped me to get sleep. And I've been struggling with getting sleep. So it was like, oh, I can actually sleep for like 9-10 hours.
And that's what
in a night.
That's what we need as human beings. They try to fucking lie to us. The capitalist agenda. What?
They do. And also because they, as always, all of these studies are centered on men. And so I saw something recently, different rhythms. And so where they were doing more so on women, and it was more like, oh yeah, women need 9 to 10
women
9 to 10 hours versus men needing like that classic 8.
And like 7. They'll try to say like 7 and shit. And I'm like,
no.
There's no
my body
needs less sleep. Like,
my body has a lot to do. Okay.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do at night.
Honestly.
I need some sleep.
Also, like, it's the time when you can like check out what's going on in your subconscious. You can check out what's going on in like the different dimensions that you have access to. I just feel like a lot happens.
And what else it does?
What else?
It heals.
It does.
Sleep heals.
Your body needs, like, that's when it does all of its regeneration.
Exactly.
You have time to regenerate.
We definitely should have a whole sleep episode or something.
Okay. Let's talk about
healing and sleep episode, because we're gonna be going through these episodes focusing on different. We'll have some cosmic episodes.
Yes.
We'll have some healing episodes, and we'll have some Sistas episodes.
Yeah, and we wanted to silo those because it's like we're multifaceted, but we know that people want different things. And our people, not just people, because we know we're not for everyone. We know that, and we don't want to be. But like, I mean, because I know I love talking about the cosmos and all of the like spiritual woo nonsense wrapped up in that and exploring what that is. But I know that's not all that you're about. You know?
No, I'm not all that you're about either. Like, you're more than
I am more. But I also want to explore it more in depth and with more intention. And I think doing episodes separately like that, I don't know, just helps with like the intentionality, because it's just like, oh, we want to be heard. It's like we want to like intentionally process and like explore things together, you know. And that's why I think it's nice. I'm excited about the sort of
the cosmic
spaces. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Get you. Yeah. No, me too. And I think it'll be fun. I don't know. It's always fun talking to you.
Always fun. I mean, we're talking already like 2-3 times a day when we're separate.
Girl.
What even is codependent?
Okay. What is it really? No, girl, stop. You
I don't know.
Are out here.
You deserve to have people in our lives. I mean, we've talked about this. It's like both of us have fire risings, which mean our 7 houses are air signs, and so it means that like what it means.
We're yappers in our relationship.
Exactly. In relationships, when we're meeting other people, when we feel like bonded and connected to other people, we want to talk to them. We want to talk.
That's true.
I feel so weird, or it's like a specific sort of experience when I don't want to talk to someone, like when I don't want to talk to anyone, you know, for like for like extended periods of time, like it's definitely like like I'm going through something. You know,
I feel like the only time I really did that was when I did that silent retreat, like my own silent little
during that
retreat during the eclipse season. For Scorpio and Taurus, and like I feel like my Earth Sun really grounds me in being like, okay with not talking to people for a extended-ish amount of time. But yeah, I don't think it could be longer than a week. After a week, I'm like, okay, what's the point of life? Like, if I'm not,
and that's you can essential. You're like, what's the point of me even being? I might as well be dead.
If I'm not sharing with others, and the people are not sharing with me, like, what's going on here? No,
And I just feel like sisterhood is so important to us.
It is.
I think it's one of like the greatest gifts that we were given on this earth. And so I appreciate being able to like really, really enjoy and appreciate that with you. You know, we don't know how long we'll have each other.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
but hopefully a long time. And you know what? I also really value the community.
What do you mean? Who's the community? Who are you talking about?
No, I didn't say the community. I just said community, just generally.
Oh, do you?
I do. Just for like, I guess the same reasons.
Yeah.
Well, and more. But like having folks who are in this life together, because it's so hard. And we can't do anything alone. Like, it's really like not truly, like, not at the end of the day.
Maybe at the beginning of the day, maybe we all wake up and we think we can do anything ourselves. But by the end of the day, we realize we absolutely cannot. By the end of the day, it's unavoidable, honestly. It's inevitable. So,
no, but like, especially when it comes to getting like a life not getting a life, experiencing a life. Get a life.
I mean, I think community is being like invested in other people's lives.
Yes.
You know,
it is. Yeah.
Get a life is honestly a manifestation of our hyper individualist culture, if we're being honest.
Hey, look at the earring.
That's your new. I'll do
community. I was given these by one of my besties.
Yes, and they're lovely.
So, community and our community is filled with such amazing folks who do all kinds of things. And I just really don't know where we would be without them.
Yeah.
Where I would be without them. So, and having hope for the future
because
is so exactly
having hope for the future and what the future can look like. Like what would we be fighting for if not for like our loved ones to like actually be able to actualize their dreams, to experience in harmony. What do you think about like living on a compound in the future? We don't think about doing it alone.
No.
Just be like alone on a piece of
Oh my God, you said compounds, and that reminded me of something.
Oh my God, what?
Okay, so I was, I went to that like line dancing thing.
Yes.
And it was like
very hot right now. Queer line dancing in the Bay. Let's
truly, they love it here. Yeah, and there was someone talking about how they live in a co-op house with like 17 other people.
Oh, that's a lot of people in a house.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And they were like, it's a co-op, like it's not like I was like, okay, so it's like a co-op, not a commune. And they were like, exactly. And I was like,
okay. So what's the difference? It's not I feel like the only reason it's not a commune is it doesn't sound like there's space. I feel like a commune implies that there's like space.
Like land.
Yeah.
No, it's a big home.
Okay.
I think there's like a backyard, but I wouldn't say.
They must garden.
I would
you even call yourself a co-op without gardening?
So yeah, when you said that, it just brought me back to that. Because it's really interesting how people like are nervous about certain things.
Okay.
It's not
like, what do you mean?
Because I think it was clear, like they didn't want it to sound like a commune because then commune is like
too close to
like. I guess.
So, like,
yeah.
Oh, like is it like a? Were they white? Were they worried about?
They were
like
I'm a white. Yeah.
Like
because they're also in law school.
Okay.
And I don't know, like I just feel like that's context to like
context in what sense?
Just that like people in law school, I just feel like they're not trying to be like in communes. Like I don't know.
That's not. It doesn't fill out the identity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even though they're like, I'm in law school for like public interest.
I wanted to go to law school, but because I wanted to fight the power by way of the law, and now I understand that to not be my path.
Yeah.
Or even a pathway that I really like respect, if I'm going to be real. Because no. because
I mean,
I'm not a from the inside kind of girl.
No,
about that.
You're not.
One of our planned out combos is like we're gonna get into fugitive healing, something that I'm like exploring, unwrapping, and that's why I want to talk to you about it because it's still very like conceptual. I love that conceptual space, which is part of why I wanted to go to law school because I love the theory. Let's work with the theory. But I've met like one too many lawyers thinking specifically about that like old dude I dated last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who like really believes so deeply, you know. So he's this white guy for the girls at home. And I was like, okay, so like what's your deal with whiteness? Like where do you fall on like there's like the 8 white identities? Like are you actually an abolitionist? Like are you just, you know, someone who likes talks the talk, blah 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 blah. He was so convinced that because he was a lawyer, he's done enough. Like he gets it, you know? Like
What?
he's like done more than like someone who's like deeply invested in like their radical or revolutionary ideals because he like signed some papers and shit, you know? And I'm just like, and so that's one of those things where it's like it seems like a cop out sometimes to like actually doing the work. It's one of those ways like of like making it feel like you're self-congratulatory without actually moving the needle on anything. And it's also like because like what's the deal with moving the needle? Like let's do more. Let's tear the needle off the wall. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how
I do.
that's how lawyers.
Okay. I get you.
Oh.
I get you. So I mean it's all about keeping your integrity. You know? As we do.
It is.
As we to do.
That. It is about that.
Yeah.
And I find that like so many people don't even know what integrity means. And that bums me out. And I know that that's a really big part of like our like cultivating of community. And if we had any sort of like filters or things like that of like people like we take seriously, I think integrity is such a big part of that. And I don't even fully necessarily judge people who aren't connected to their integrity yet.
I get what you mean. Like it's not something we are taught to do a lot of the time.
Especially not our own integrity.
Yeah.
To maintain the integrity of the society we are born into. So then some people reject that, but then they don't fill it in with genuine, like subjective integrity. And I honestly think that's like an earth sign thing. I think that's our Taurus in Capricorn placements.
Oh, that we do.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
I do.
Exactly. You know, especially with Taurus Sun, Taurus Saturn. I'm really big on integrity. But no.
And in your second house, Noel. It's our second house, Earth, second house. Like it's real. It has to actually mean something. It's not like
no. Exactly. You have to be standing by something. You can just like let things go. Let things slip. No. Okay, we back, y'all. I got some veggies delivered.
Yes, you do.
From the local CSA.
Yes.
What does CSA stand for again? Community Supported Agriculture.
There we go. Ag.
Yeah.
Community Supported Agriculture. Which is awesome. And it's honestly, it's like one of the blueprints. It's like one of the, you know, I won't say the blueprints, but one of those things that I think we're able to materialize within the current like structure of society that is actually helpful and we can take with us into the future. Exactly. And that's really promising, things like that, I feel. You know, we don't have to
it's one of those stepping stones.
Yes.
That's not even
reformist. It feels like truly revolutionary. To me.
Especially in the way that it might be structured, you know, like, and how it can evolve as well, because if it's like super money based right now, or like only financially.
No, oftentimes
Tell me.
I don't say oftentimes, but anytime I've been involved it, that you can be like, I'm the sliding scale. It's like often very sliding scale based. So you can be like, I'm level 10, I can pay like $10 a week, and someone else is paying $40 a week. And that offsets.
Beautiful.
And that's really awesome as well.
Yes.
Delivered. And I just love anything that cuts out the fucking middleman.
Yes.
Society is so full of middlemen taking all this little money out of all of our pockets giving it to the other.
You know, I was talking about that.
What?
Sorry, no, about how like with Uber.
Yes.
And what was the other one? The basic like DoorDash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like people are using their own assets to like do the service of this company, and yet like the company gets most of the money, even though
they're doing
it's
nothing.
Yeah.
We could just chat. And that's what I mean, we'll be in other countries and it'll just be this WhatsApp thing. We tell this guy over WhatsApp, hey, can you pick this up? He's like, yeah, this is how much it's gonna be. And I do feel like other societies are more built for that sort of like person to person engagement and trust. Even though we do find in the real talk way that often as people, you know, with that like +1 in front of our numbers, we're often going to be charged far more than someone local. Yeah. And I mean, I always have
on a general
about that, you know?
Exactly. Because on a general in a general scope, it's like I respect it because, and especially because in the places we go, like our dollar goes far.
Yeah. Or it can.
And it can. Yeah, exactly. Where we have been and it can. I know where we are now, the dollar is not going as far.
What are y'all doing? How is anyone surviving? It's so expensive here. My goodness gracious. But anyway, yes, we respect it in the same way that we offer our services on a sliding scale. If you have more, pay more. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It does.
So
it does.
But then I feel attacked.
Really?
And that's also there. I'm human, you know, and
I'm You are, girl. We are. And that's why, you know, we respect them. We're like, okay, that's not what we can do.
That's what we can do right now, but if we can, I will. When I can't, when I'm like, the budget's not budgeting.
Yeah. No.
And that's what it is.
Not
what it is.
Yeah.
We're in our rest period that we just started implementing, like 2 to 3 weeks every quarter.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, that's my feeling. It really allows me to get into the things that I enjoy outside of like what we do with cosmic healing. So like I've been cooking more elaborate meals again. I've been singing and dancing, which you know I always do. But like it feels more intentional now. I'm puzzling. I'm reading my books. I'm watching my shows, and not in just in a like decompressive way, but in a way of like I'm I'm actively engaging in this media.
What does that even mean? No, I mean it feels the same to me, honestly. Like decompression viewing.
Oh! I thought you meant like the break. I'm like, oh.
I mean the break. To be honest, I mean, you know how much I love cosmic healing. Like, and I mean, it's just been such a. I just really think it hits on so many of my placements. What we're doing, I feel so much in my purpose as doing it, where I feel like no day feels wasted. Like every day has meaning, you know, which is something that I've never felt in any other. Okay, take back all of those superlatives. It's something I knew I would never feel in like a 9 to 5 in an employment capacity. And so, and then I didn't know how I would make that happen, you know? Yeah. And so it just always does feel inspiring to me, even just spending an hour or two on something cosmic healing related, like makes me feel like I'm like, we're doing it and it makes me so happy. And so, I mean, I do have like conflicting feelings about the rest period because, and I think it's primarily because of how different our life looks now, like post 2020. So, you know, how I would like enjoy my free time pre 2020 is I would be going out, I would be on dates, I would be at bars, I would be dancing, I would be meeting randos and ending up on random rooftops, you know, doing all sorts of random things. Like that's how I used to enjoy, like I have free time. But because I like can't or choose, like very intentionally choose not to live life like that anymore, it does kind of feel extra like
Yeah, and I feel like that's the difference between my Aries rising and your Sag rising, because I'm like, I get to be me. I'm just me, bro. Like I'm just
yeah,
doing what I like to do, and that
like
can be so.
me.
And you're like, I
I'm not
can't be in the world.
formulated. Yeah, I want to have the experiences, and so then I'm like tempted to have the experiences, but I know I'm so grounded in knowing that it's not like safe or like the right thing for me, and so I'm more aware of that tension.
Yeah,
As we're at,
yeah,
and it makes me a little sad, you know. I'm being
yeah. No, that's real. It is. I mean, it is such a like it's still isolating when it doesn't need to be as isolating. You know what I mean? Like as in we know that there are so many ways to still experience fun times while being careful, and while still masking and while still testing, and that's just like not something that people are doing widely, and so then it like continues
nor,
to.
yeah, nor receptive to though, you know,
Oh yeah.
in the sense of I would move through the world and people would be like, "Who she's so fun. I want to go talk to her." Like it would always be just like a steady stream of like interest in me, and
Mhm.
you know, so I
Sorry.
am a ninth house Leo sun, and
I know.
but
People do.
with the mask on, it's just much less common that people are like interested in engaging. And I'm much less interested in engaging because, of course, there's a very different thing between someone like being in front of me and talking at me for a prolonged period of time versus just like weaving through the world in more like short
Yeah.
spurts of, you know, people's drums, all up in my face.
What about writing? Because
No, and I was having that new moon in Aquarius thought today. I was like, no, I'm going to start a TikTok because like writing used to be such an amazing outlet for me as a time to come back to myself. I'm all out in the world doing all these things, and now I get my writing time. I used to come and I'm like, okay, it's me and my processing. And now it's me and my processing all the goddamn day, all the live long
yeah,
day. And so now I want it more of like a communication outlet rather than a
yes,
communication reflection. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so that's kind of
no,
also brings us to the podcast.
yeah,
So
yeah, no, that's real. Letting people like having it, knowing that it'll be heard. But I mean, I feel like with your writing, you would also have people, read it a lot of the time, depending on what it was, I guess. But
I feel
like,
like the people hate
yeah.
reading these days, though. I mean, hate is a strong word.
But like that's also why I feel like it is still important, so important to continue the craft. Like, I mean, we reading is very important.
Absolutely.
It is. And I mean, it's not the only way, obviously, to get information, obtain information, and like hold on to information. Like, it's not just through reading, but like it is it is very
It
important.
is.
It's in a very way to do it. So,
And, you know, we both
um,
enjoy reading immensely. You know, we're readers. We've been
we are.
readers. So I'm not saying like reading is not important, but I'm saying if I want the feeling of connection, of contact and reception, I'm not going to get that in the same way with newsletters. Find me on Substack, Sad Rising. It's not the same.
Yeah. No, real. And there are multiple ways to liberation too. I'm just thinking with TikTok, a lot of people have been at least somewhat radicalized. I don't know if it's like
it's possible.
fully, but like
made more aware of the XYZ thing.
Totally. And just in liberation generally speaking, like there will need to take multiple paths. Like it's not like one way.
No.
Towards
I absolutely don't believe in the one way.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. And like, yeah, we have to embody those multitudes.
So, I just naturally embody those multitudes. What can I say? I didn't ask to embody multitudes.
We're not.
I was simply born with a cardinal brand cross, and I have tension.
Brand cross.
Yeah, which for the kids at home, it means I have planets or points in every cardinal sign directly, all within between like 6 and 13 degrees. So they're all top.
Girl, I feel like we didn't talk about that in relation to, because I have so much cardinality, but I guess because they're not in the same like degrees.
Yeah,
so you're just
they're not talking as directly. They're not in such direct tension with one another.
Got you. And I guess that's probably why we also get into our little spots. Because we both
ways of wanting to do something. We love our but we lead differently, and that's why we have you're going to facilitate different group programs, and we get our spaces, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like us and like our our composite chart. So for the folks at home, I love like relational astrology, and relational astrology is not at all limited to like romantic relationship, like family synastry, like friendship synastry, like even like a boss sort of, what's the word, employee synastry, like just understanding how you connect with like a significant person in your life or even an insignificant person in your life is so interesting. And so there is like synastry in the sense of like two charts and how they talk to each other. And so all the different points and conversations between them. But then there's also a composite chart, which is two charts essentially fused into one new chart. And it speaks to how like you as a unit like move like through the world. And in a situation like this, like this is not necessarily like, hey, and Erica, this is like the cosmic healing sisters. You're like getting to engage with us. And so I thought it would be really cool to dig a little bit into our composite chart, which we've already done to some degree. When to like, in what context were we looking at our composite chart? Do you remember?
Oh no, I don't even know if it was for cosmic healing. I think it was to do with our pet sitting, and why people like feel comfortable, like choose us over other people.
Who are we?
What is the energy that we are projecting out there?
That was the question.
Because we have some strong Cancer.
We have a lot of Cancer energy, so we seem like we're
yeah,
like
we do,
and we do. I mean, all of those animals, I love them so deeply as we're with them, and I miss them.
because we also care, like, yes, I of course care about the animals and their well-being, especially in their like practical well-being, or like physical well-being.
And you're a lot better with that. And together we do that. You know,
Exactly.
I want to cuddle with them constantly. I want to make sure that they're super loved all the time. I want them. I want like them to be able to sleep in the bed with me if they want and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, we have
will they
to eat.
Are they water? This little box needs to be cleaned now. And yeah. So, but I think when we were looking at it, we also, I think, naturally progressed in talking about cosmic healing as well.
Yeah, because like with our Scorpio midheaven.
Exactly.
And that's where it's like the focus on healing. We also have that
and where's Chiron there?
Scorpio.
Okay, yeah.
Chiron's in the Scorpio 9th house. And so, and I mean, in astrology, this sort of work is very 9th house work.
Yes.
So it's like,
it's Scorpionic too, I think.
I think so too. And like, I will say that almost like against our will. And that's kind of the nature of Scorpio. You know, like when we want things to be like upbeat and stuff, it often isn't. Yeah. And I think that is like it's really beautiful sometimes, you know, that because like our lives, they haven't been just like upbeat, chill, like no worries, no problems. That hasn't been our experience. And we've gained all of this like experiential wisdom, experiential knowledge from the things that we've lived through, from the things that we've like suffered through as well. And even if we want to like project that out, even if we want to be like, this is just like a fun like fat liberation space. It's like, okay, we're dealing with fatphobia, like we're dealing with like medical neglect, so like we're dealing with like societally imposed self-hatred, like things like that. Like that's serious shit. It's not just fun fat liberation, you know. No. If that's what we're like, that's what it's gonna be. And so like that's just an example. But I mean, how do you see your Scorpio Chiron, Scorpio midheaven playing out?
Well, I also am thinking when you were bringing up that example, like even some of the like regular community spaces of like not peer support.
I mean, our peer supporter group, like that gets serious.
Yeah, no, exactly. And our like even the co-working sometimes, you know, it's like when we're just checking in, like things happen in life, and like we cannot ignore them. And we're open to hearing about what's going on. And so that is naturally going to open the door to hearing about like some hard shit. So yeah. I think with Scorpio, I also think of just like confidentiality to some degree for some reason. And being that like we are again like hearing about things that like are private, and are things that maybe people have like repressed, and I feel like that shows up a lot more maybe in like your sessions and like my peer support sessions as well, like these things where it's like
totally people
are I think especially in astrology sessions,
because this is
you're talking about
this is the theme of your life, like this is a destined theme of your life. How does this show up? And it's like, whoa, yeah, this does show up in a really heavy way that I don't think about all the time, and here it is. And I mean, the shift into therapeutic astrology was an organic shift, because that is what I found people were getting out of the sessions. Like I thought it would just be like fun translation, like this is what it is, isn't that cool? And it's like, okay, yeah, and also this reminds me of this childhood wound that like I haven't brought up in like therapeutic sessions or like with my therapist. for things that like this like clinical sort of realm has just decided to diagnose me with this and then give me a medication if that's that. But I want to actually understand what's going on, where this came from. I know enough about trauma to know that it's rooted in something, and to know that it's not simply that like now like completely debunked idea of brain chemistry or imbalances, that it's like, no, this is a reaction to a lived experience, and you deserve to explore that fully and have that like reflected and understood with assistance from another person, rather than you know whatever is happening in these therapy sessions. People trying to reroute your brain out of it, or I mean, there's so many different forms of therapy that are simply meant to like put it in a box. You know, this is how you can.
Which I mean, okay,
Tell me.
I have mixed feelings because, you know, I think that like with those kind, like, because I don't know if you're talking about. I immediately thought about like the light one where they like do 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 do,
Oh, like
and they can like
EMDR.
yeah, and I don't know if that's what you're
What I was
referencing.
immediately thinking of.
Oh, okay.
CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, you know, which is like, if I think about this, I'm going to reroute and think, change my thought about something. Like, oh, I feel like depressed going to work. How do I change feeling depressed going to work, instead of exploring that, like, the nature of your life is depressing because of.
And that's, yeah.
And what can we do to change that?
Like, that's obviously a bad use of it. Like, not that I'm like, I do think people are using it to do that. But I do think there is room for it to be used in a way, like when it's like bad self-talk or like negative self-talk. And it's like, I don't like this part of my being or something. And it's like, okay, let's, you know, try to figure out how to like shift that, you know?
You know, I love a shift, but I love a shift
Exactly.
rooted
feel like
in the reality of like one's life and one's history, rather than just don't think like that. Why are you thinking like that? Where did it come from? What does it know that you want to express? And this is something we can find in the chart of like, if you feel unproductive and you're shitting on yourself for being unproductive, maybe you have a Virgo Mars and you need to see the tangible effects, the material effects of your actions in order to feel satisfied. If you're not in a day-to-day world where you're able to get that, rather than just changing the talk and being like, no, I am productive, we can identify in the chart, like, this is what you need. Let's figure out how to get you there, and then work on it from there. If it remains, then we know that it's actually incongruous with your reality. And it's much easier to change at that point, rather than to try to override your literal situation with like the power of the mind, you know?
No, that's real. It's hard because, you know, I'm not like trying. Maybe it's, well, not maybe. It's the Libra Mars where I'm like, I see the value and I want to express it. Yeah. I don't want to just completely.
You don't want to be a hater. Also,
like, it is. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah. And I've used the example of the Virgo Mars because that's what we have in our composite chart. We have a Virgo Mars in the 7th house. And so, I mean, I think that is what leads us to really valuing that one-to-one work and really getting into like the day-to-day of things with people, like what is really going on. Like in your support sessions, like you want to provide that like practical support, which is so Virgo Mars in the 7th house, practical peer support. It really is, you know. It's going to be just increasingly fulfilling for you to get to do that. And I love how practical astrology can be, how like it can really like cut into like the crux of a problem or of a
okay. Damn.
we're talking Mars. We're incisive. We're getting into it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's really cool because there's a lot of bullshit, you know? There's the bullshit that astrology helps us to bypass.
Yeah.
And I love that. Astrology allows us to understand what scope we're working within. And it still won't be able to tell me exactly what's going on, but helps to give me the general theme, the gist, the area of life, the way it might be expressing. And so then I don't have to like, I mean, I often still will ask general questions like, what was your experience with your family? But I usually have a general idea of what's going on.
Too.
Yeah. We have this Aquarius rising.
Aquarius rising.
Yeah.
What's the fun?
Cancer.
Okay, sorry.
No.
We just said Cancer placements. We didn't say what they were, though.
Yes. Cancer Sun, Cancer Mercury, Cancer Venus.
Okay.
Very Cancerian in the way that we engage. We're loving people. Yeah. We just are. And that's what got us here. Like, that's what got us doing the work that we want to do.
Aquarius rising.
Yes. With Uranus conjunct the ascendant. And I mean,
change every day.
Changing every day. And I mean, it's all virtual, you know? It's all virtual. Mm-hmm. And that's so important to us that it's accessible by way of being virtual and that we're working with. Like,
all kinds of people, too.
So many different people because of the virtual component. Yeah. And, like, I mean...
Again, accessibility.
Yeah. And we're weird. Like an astrologically grounded virtual community healing justice practice.
I see that everywhere. I don't know what you're talking about.
Started.
I follow at least 30 of those.
And you know, we're
unique.
We're nomadic. We're not from anywhere. We're from Charleston, South Carolina, but we're not
from anywhere. We dropped out of the sky.
And here we are. You know, we're like Black, queer, and like different people. We're different. We're different. And that's our Aquarian nature. And we're working with systems. We're working systemically. We're working with concepts. You know, we're working with big ideas, which is also very Aquarius. So, I love that.
Yeah. We are like the, not the descendants, but what is that word where it's like we are the children of like the age of Aquarius, kind of like we.
Yeah. I mean, we carry that energy with. I mean, that's what I say about the nature of the natal chart. Like, we're born into an energy, and we carry that energy with us. Lives. Like, that's what we're meant to carry. And so, being born with Neptune and Aquarius, which actually are shared, our composite Neptune is an Aquarius, even though Capricorn. And then, like, Pluto now being an Aquarius, like, and both of us being born with Uranus and Aquarius, like, Aquarius is a big part of, like, the backdrop energies that we're working with.
The backdrop, exactly.
Just the nature of the world that we're in, with the digital age, with the technological age. Like, I think we're pretty age of Aquarius right now. I don't know what other sign I would deeply associate with the age we're in right now, other than Aquarius. Be honest. I can be honest.
Say it.
Yeah. So that's some stuff about our composite chart. We also have Aquarius.
Wow.
I know we're so Aquarian.
So Cancer and they square each other?
No. They're in conjuncts. They don't really communicate much, which is honestly okay because it's like we're living. It's why we're doing the sort of like siloed podcast in general. Like that aspect of like care and sisterhood and like support and all of it is like very foundational to who we are. But there's also this experience which is really high level sort of stuff, you know, where we want to talk about ideas, you know?
Yeah.
And not just for it to be about like, this is what we've done and this is what us, but also like I'm working with a theoretical framework of fugitive healing, and I want to talk about what that looks like, what it looks like to really dedicate yourself to divestment from like the day to day that was imposed by like upon us. And so we're working with differences. You know?
Exactly. Bringing the things that don't seem to that people don't naturally put together. Like, why would astrology be included in fat liberation? Like, what is the why?
And we'll tell you why. And we'll tell you why. And that's what we do.
Girl, okay. So to close us out, okay. What's been on your feed? Especially on this TikTok feed, your new TikTok. Girl, what you be seeing on this TikTok?
I'm newly on TikTok as of a couple of days ago, and I'm just learning about what it's all about before launching my TikTok. You can find us at Cosmic Healing Sistas on my TikTok feed. I'm finding that for whatever reason they keep giving me like tarot readers who, and they say this very fast, you know. I watched maybe like 2 of them, but the algorithm is like so intensely, you know, specific that they watched one tarot reading, which I couldn't possibly have known what the reading was going to unveil, you know, before. No. So I didn't watch it for that particular message. But now every single message is someone's coming back. Someone's coming back. They're thinking about you. They're thinking about you, and they're gonna come back. And okay. I don't. Now you're scared. Yeah. I'm scared. Exactly. So on my feed is the idea that people are gonna come back into my life. And honestly, I can say for the first time in like a while, I don't say the first time in a while, you know, big sweeping statements for everyone. I use them often. Like, I'm not like holding my breath for someone to come back. I'm not like, oh, we missed this X. This X needs to find its way back. I'm not. And so it's like, it's been weird. It's been weird messages, but I know it's because of the algorithm, and it's not because the universe is trying to deeply impress upon me that someone's coming back. Right. Thinking about coming back. No. If you think, don't. And that's the thing that I think people need to remember with these algorithms. It's like, it's maybe the first time, maybe you can say the first time it's the universe. Yeah. But when it keeps happening, like, y'all, like, part of that is because you liked it. Yeah. Like, you well, I didn't like that, and that's also what's scaring me about the algorithm. It's literally just, it's like they scan how long you're listening to it and things like that, which, I mean, it's kind of impressive to witness the algorithm in its like in action. Yeah. But what's been on your feed, sis? What's been on it? Oh, I have been getting so many little astrology tweets and memes. And one of them was like, so, you know, I have an Aries moon, and the Aries moon was right, but the Taurus moon was like, I don't want a job. I just want to eat, drink good coffee, and have neck kisses. And I'm like, honestly, though, that's a Taurus. Like, yeah, that is a Taurus. It's all Taurus placements. Yeah. Let's be real. Yeah. It doesn't say anything, and it's honestly a part of why I want to start the TikTok, because, you know, I want a place to have like my more like transient or like casual astro takes, to just be able to say I practiced saying something into a camera to no one. It's hard. It's hard and it's weird. So it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, but
I believe in you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and people want to know.
Exactly. The people need good astro takes that are actually rooted in something real. And I want to give it to the people. I want to give it to the people. That's what I want. So, next time. What are we talking about next time?
Oh, girl, you know what we're about to talk about. You know what we're about to talk about. We're talking ins and outs, okay?
Yes, our cosmic ins and outs. All things like spirituality, new age, shit. We're doing ins and outs. So I'm looking forward. I will have my list ready.
Me too.
Hey.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye, sis.